So you don't want to be in a passive role where you're waiting for people to buy from you. Like, first identify who your dream soulmate clients and collectors are. So how do you identify that? Answer this question. Who are the people who would happily spend $20,000 on one of your paintings without blinking an eye? Who is that person? That would be like, it's no brainer. And it's more than they just have money. There's more to it than that. It's because there's that deep connection. There's something there. It's that magical spark there. That's nice. It's hard to put words to. That it's like, oh my goodness, like there's something here. Like, you want to figure out who are those people and how can I get in front of more of them. Today, we're going to really talk about what are the 5 shifts you need to make to create consistent 5-figure months in your art business. Because the truth is, there's no accident why some artists have consistent 5-figure months and why some artists don't. So that's what we're essentially going to do today. We're going to dive into what are those key shifts you specifically need to make. Because when you understand those key shifts, then you could see, oh, these are the bottlenecks in my business. These are the bottlenecks in my business. These are the tweaks I need to make. And when I can make these tweaks, the good news is I'm setting my business up to experience the success I want to experience. So before we get started, one thing I highly recommend that you do, if you're watching live on Facebook, took us a little longer to stream live on Facebook today, just because I wanted to first make sure we were all set here and that I was able to understand the questions of everyone who's live with me at the moment. But I recommend you join us live on Zoom, because if we have time today, and we usually do have time, we will definitely make time for Q&A and just helping you understand how this applies to you and your business. And when you understand how these concepts apply to you and your business, that's when things dramatically change, because this information's great. Like, information's awesome. Now understanding, like, oh, I need to understand this, this, and this, and this in my business. That's great awareness. But nothing's going to change your life and your business until you understand, oh, what specific shifts do I need to make? So that's what we're going to dive into today. That's what we're going to dive into today. If we have time afterwards in our Q&A, we'll take time with each of you to figure out what that could look like for you. If you want us to look at you and your business and see what shifts you need to make. And yeah, so let's dive in. There's 5 specific things I want to talk about today. And it's like, when you really understand, there are 5 key concepts. If you've been following me for a while, it's nothing dramatically or crazy new. If you've been in the business world, you probably have heard about some of these things here or there, but it's understanding how you put together in your specific art business. And I think that's really the key thing. Just hearing concepts, that's great, but it's actually knowing what to do with them. So as I said before, we're going to break down the exact five shifts you need to make so you can start experiencing consistent 5-figure months in your business this year. So what's the first thing? What's the first thing that people who experience 5-figure months, what's the first thing they've mastered? Well, the first key thing they've mastered is they understand what it is that they're building. So this is, and I've talked about this a lot. And when we did our last training, Luxury Brand Upgrade, which was an incredible 3-day training, I know some of you were there, some of you weren't even in my world yet when we taught that training. But the first thing we spent so much time talking about was this idea of intention. What is it that you're ultimately building? What is it that you're ultimately creating? And why am I talking about this? Because what do I see most artists do, or especially a lot of, not just artists, but a lot of creative businesses, a lot of artists and creative businesses are just winging it. They're just posting their work randomly. They're not really starting with our business of intention of like, oh, this is a luxury brand and business we're building and creating. This is who it's designed for. This is the impact we plan on making with this luxury brand and business in the world, and how much money we're setting ourselves up to make. Like, most art businesses don't do that. Most art businesses are like hobby art businesses, and they're like, oh, I will do this art fair here, and I will do this thing here, and I will post on this platform here, and I will do this, this, and this. And there's nothing wrong with doing those different things. But if they're not aligned to support you to create, if they're not aligned to support you in the vision you're here to create in this world, it's like I was talking this with this idea of my students the other day. They're too expensive, or they're costing you your time, or they're a waste of your time. This is a big thing. When you know what you're building and you have such clarity of this is what I'm building, this is what I'm creating, this is what I'm here to do in the world. This is a luxury brand and business that I'm building. And I know, Christy, you mentioned you want to talk more about brand clarity. So if you want more clarity in this, when we're talking about this, let me know. Like, this is the big thing, because when you understand this is the business that I'm building, this is who it's designed for, this is what I ultimately want to create, this is the experience I want people to have, this is the feeling I want people to associate with me and my brand, this is what I want this business and brand to become, then you're going to be very intentional about what it is that you do. You're going to step in and you're going to step in and become the leader that you need to be. You're not going to simply just wing it, hoping that your work sells. You're going to set up this business with the intention. And when you set your business up with the intention, this is when you actually don't have to wait years to sell your work at the prices you would love to charge, because you could decide, just like every luxury brand and business out there, like, what do? They decide, oh, this is the business we're building. This is to the market and who it's designed for. This is how we're going to market to them. This is how we're going to speak to them. This is how we're going to attract them. So that's the first big piece there. Another piece, and it was interesting, this came to me before I actually did this training today. It was like one of those epiphanies or ahas. I was like, oh, you need to talk about this today. And it was this idea of, it's knowing what it is you're building, but it's then embodying it. And I think, and I want to talk more about what I mean by that, because I see there's a lot of disconnect with artists, and not just artists, I see with coaches, with mentors, with all different kinds of businesses out there. So this example, and I know the type of people I attract, they often fall into this category. So if you sell this idea of manifestation, if you sell this idea of peace, if you sell this idea of serenity, if you sell this idea of, I'm trying to think of another, of Reiki or healing, or I'm just trying to think like all the different modalities that live within this realm of like, of this spiritual healing realm, which is, I tend to attract a lot of people who are in that space. If you're not in that space, it's okay. That's just a lot of the people that tend to show up in my world. Here's a big thing. If you aren't the emblem of that, do you think people are going to think, oh, this is the person I have to buy it from? Like your people are really good at selling things when they could embody it, when they become the emblem of it. Because when people, I actually heard a story about someone I know who was now working with a $60,000 client, maybe even more than that, because of this one thing. What she does is she teaches somatic work, and she was literally embodying the work. She was embodying the transformation. And she had a friend who is a CEO of a huge company, and she was like, whatever you have, I want. That led to that high level client. And that was that one specific example. But what I notice and what I see a lot in this space is some people will sell this idea of manifestation, this idea of peace, and you see what's their dominant energy. They're trying to control, or they're selling this idea of healing or whatever. And what's their dominant energy? They're in anxiety. It's like, this is like a very interesting nuance that people need to understand. Like, okay, this is what we're creating. This is what we're building. This is what we're selling. Are you embodying the energy of that? Are you the emblem of that? Or is there still some embodiment work that needs to be done for people to be like, when they think of this adjective, they think of you. When they think of this adjective, or this noun or this verb, they think of you and your brand. Does that make sense? Christy, I'd love to call on you because I know you had questions about brand clarity.
Yeah, that makes total sense and is actually very helpful.
Good.
Because that's, I mean, at this point, that's definitely why I was attracted to you and your program. So this is definitely speaking to me.
Yeah, and I think this is a big missing piece that a lot of people don't understand, because some people, this isn't even an awareness to be like, oh, what am I selling beyond art? Because just FYI, if you're selling art, you're selling way more than just art. You're not just selling paintings. You're selling the emotion, or even if you just sell handbags or art or coaching or mentorship or accessories or jewelry or clothing or whatever it is, or cars or whatever it is under the sun that you sell. Like I'm sure most people here don't sell cars, but like just an example, if you're not, even though people, you may be selling that, you're selling way more than just the actual object, just the actual item. You're selling way more than just the function of filling someone's wall. That's the first thing you need to understand. And people of that understanding are like a step ahead from the majority of everyone else. So that's the first understanding, like, oh, I'm selling an emotion. Great. What's the emotion I'm selling? What's the feeling I'm selling? Because like if you think about every high-ticket luxury brand out there, why are people drawn to them? Like, why are people drawn to the Swarovski brand versus Louis Vuitton brand versus the Dolce & Gabbana brand versus the Dior brand? Each of them sell like this different feeling of luxury, but there's like that nuance of like, oh, well, this sells this feeling, but it makes me feel this, or reminds me of this. And that's why I'm drawn to this. Like each person, each artist, each brand has that thing. And it's discovering, oh, what is that thing that I'm selling? Am I completely embodying it? Am I being the most incredible embodiment of the thing that I'm selling? Or is there this disconnect where I'm like, I'm selling peace, and I'm selling healing, and I'm selling all of this, like this beautiful energy. Like I'm selling people their most divine state. And here I am in anxiety, trying to control everything, this or that. Like you could see why people are like, they might even have the words, but there's kind of like a lack of trust there. There's this disconnect. So it's understanding, it's like, okay, if I'm selling this lifestyle, or if I'm selling luxury, if I'm selling all these things, am I being the embodiment of that? And for each artist, it's different. When I say understanding what it is that you're selling, understanding what it is you're creating, for each artist, even though all of you sell art on some level, you still are selling something different. I know Christy understands that because she's in one of my programs, and she could see every artist in there, even though all you guys are similar, all you guys are in the healing space, all you guys are in the space of wanting to make an impact on the world, on wanting to help people. Each of you, each person is so different in what specifically is that they're selling, even though they're all artists, even though they all sell art. And that, I think, is a really important thing to understand. So it's understanding, what are we building? What are we creating? What are we ultimately selling? Are we the embodiment of that? That's the first step. And this is such a, like, what we're talking about right now is like really your key foundation. And without this foundation, you're forever a hobby art business just trying to make your next sale. There's no intention behind it. And without that intention, you're kind of in this place of like, oh, I have to wait 10 years to sell my work for $10,000. And I call bullshit on that. I was like, no, you don't have to wait that long, but you need to have the intention of what it is you're selling, and you have to be that. You have to be the embodiment of that. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay. So the next step, which we sort of spoke about before, is identifying exactly who your soulmate client and collector is. And I love the term soulmate client and collector because it kind of takes this idea of competition out of there, because we live in this world, and some people may know like, oh, there's no competition, it's collaboration. But on some level, everyone still knows, oh, there's other people out there, and if people buy from other people, then they're taking money away from me. Like there's that idea. And on some levels in the physical 3D world, we think it's true. And the reality, it really isn't true, but we're living in a physical 3D world. So it's like understanding, when you understand the concept of soulmate, client, and collector, it's the people that you could serve better than anyone else. So going back to the first foundation we spoke on the last, and just a second ago, being embodiment of the first thing allows you to serve your people better than anyone else. So that's just the first thing I want to circle back to before we continue on this point. So one thing you need to understand, you're not here just to sell your work to anyone. That's really important to understand. You're not here just to sell your work to anyone. And this is the biggest mistake artists try to make. They try to sell their work to all the collectors out there, thinking if there's someone who collects art, they specifically want to collect your work. Or this is the other one that I hear a lot. If someone has money, they're going to want to buy my art just because they have money. And we all know, if you've been in business and you understand business, we all understand that's just going to keep you in this route, in this like hamster wheel of forever being stuck. Just because someone's an art collector, just because someone likes art, just because someone has money, gives them no reason to specifically buy from you. Here, when you're becoming the leader of your business and you want to create a multiple 6 to 7 figure business, you need to identify, who are we here to serve? Who is this business designed for? Who could we serve better than anyone else in the world? And the beautiful thing is, when you understand this, it kind of takes the competition, feeling of competition out of there, because you're not trying to sell to everyone. You're not trying to serve everyone. You're just trying to serve the people that you could serve better than anyone else. And when you focus on that, the beautiful thing is, when you focus on that, you allow yourself to fully be yourself. You stop trying to be this mask of, oh, I have to be this, because if I'm not this, people won't buy from me. It's like, no, be everything that you are. Like this whole idea, like what I was talking about before, if you sell peace, if you sell abundance, if you sell prosperity, that's your natural state. Be that. Take everything away that's not your natural state. Be your natural state. Do the work to become that natural state. So the thing is, the reason why it's so important to know who your people are, because you don't want to be in a passive role where you're waiting for people to buy from you. Like, first identify who your dream soulmate clients and collectors are. So how do you identify that? Answer this question. Who are the people who would happily spend $20,000 on one of your paintings without blinking an eye? Who is that person? That would be like, it's no brainer. And it's more than they just have money. There's more to it than that. It's because there's that deep connection. There's something there. It's that magical spark there. That's nice. It's hard to put words to, that it's like, oh my goodness, like there's something here. Like, you want to figure out, who are those people and how can I get in front of more of them? So the people who are literally obsessed with your work. So your job with this is to identify who these people are and how you can get in front of them over and over and over and over and over again, and attract them into your world. So here you may be like, well, how do I do that? Well, there's several ways to do this. there's partnerships, there's content marketing, there's Facebook groups, there's ads, there's getting your work in the media. Like you could even read a book called Traction. It tells you like 19 different ways, like the 19 different ways anyone could possibly grow a business. We actually did a training. If you go to our business series, about the first training we did was all about traction and how you get traction in your art business. It's like all these are the same and it's great. You could do all of them, but it's not going to work until you know what you're building, who it's designed for, and who these specific people are and how to attract them into your world. Because you could try partnering something. This is actually a big mistake I made when I was starting out. One of my mentors, my first art mentor, was like, set up partnerships. At that point, I wanted to sell my work, but I didn't understand who my ideal client really was. And she wasn't aware enough to be like, help me really identify that on a deep level. Cause I was like, of course, as an artist, you're like, oh, I want to still do interior designs. I want to do this and that. And that was me. Like, I just was like, there's so much opportunity out here. I want to take advantage of all of it. And the problem with that was because I didn't have that clarity, I was reaching out to these people and we collaborated with them and it was great, but it didn't lead to much. It's like you accept all these partnerships, you can even invest money in some partnerships, but without having that extreme brand clarity of who it's for, and you're just making assumptions of being like one of my dumb assumptions was like, oh, I paint nature, so I'm gonna attract people who like nature. Well, there's a lot of artists who paint nature. Why would they like my paintings over another artist who paints nature? It's like understand the nuance. And I realized, oh, there's something deeper there. There's something deeper beyond that. It's just, it looks like this, or this is what I do. There's something beyond that. There's that magical spark. At that point, I was very early on. I didn't understand branding at that point. So I didn't understand like, oh, what's that magical spark that for the people who love my work that are just obsessed with it, who has those people? But you first need to understand who those people are before you could do any of the marketing strategies. And this is why there's a lot of people out there who teach marketing strategies and their strategies are great, but they don't really work for a lot of people because they are missing the one key foundation. They don't really know who they're here to sell to. They may think they may be selling art. They may be selling more than art. Like here, I've had this whole discussion with Christy, who I've been working with. We realized like, oh yeah, she sells art, but she's actually creating something that's way more than just that. And it's understanding what that looks like for each of you. And this is where I say like setting it up with intention, understand the brand that you're building. So the big part of all this, it's like, okay, we understand what we're building. We're starting to understand who's that person who like is obsessed with our work, who's that person where they have that magical spark where they love their work and they can't even really explain why they love their work. But it's something beyond that. Many times it's beyond what words could explain. Eventually you start finding what those words are. But there's that thing. Your next step is understanding how you can present yourself as their guide. And this is why I said about being the embodiment of it. Because you could say like, oh, I do this, I help people with this. If you want to present yourself as the guide and you're not the embodiment of that, do you think people are going to really see you as a guide? No. They're going to be like, oh, here's this annoying person trying to sell me this thing. But when you show up as the guide and become the obvious solution and present yourself in that way through your content, through how you're showing up in the world, how you're showing up to your email list, how you're just showing up in whatever way you choose to grow your business, then people perceive you differently. Then there's a different level of attraction. There's a different level of desire. There's a different level of being like, that's the person who's here to help me. This is the person who could help me better than anyone else. So you need to, in order to do this, you need to see yourself as the leader of your business, showing up for your people, serving them better than anyone else is in the market. And this is another level of intention, knowing your market. What is it that they need? What is it that they're seeking? What's holding them back at this moment? It's like, this is where actually like going into business and understanding, okay, this is what I sell. I understand it's more than just art. I understand it's more than just a painting, or it's more than just a work of art. I understand there's some magical spark. That's ultimately the thing that I sell. The people who resonate with that, what is it that they're missing in their journey? They have this place where they are now. They have this place where they want to be. It may not be like for each person, for each brand, it's going to be different. So it's understanding for your people, what does that look like? Okay, what is the gap there? What is the gap there? What is in the market? And what's the gap in the market? How can I serve and fill that gap? How can I give them everything that they need by filling that gap? I know this is actually, I keep going back to Christy because she's the one person who has her camera on, but this is something we've actually spoken a lot about. Up here, Christy's putting together this experience where she's incorporating paintings and retreats and other things. And we were talking about, well, how can you make sure your people have everything they need in their journey when they work with you? So they don't leave and they're like, oh, I did this thing and it was great, but they go back to their old way of being. Like that they continue and integrate. Because Christy, she's incredible. She's an artist, she's a healer. There's multiple levels to what she does. Hi, Susan. So nice to see you.
Yeah, yeah, I made it.
I
Thought I'd
love
turn
it.
on 'cause I was eating before and I was trying to listen at the same time, so I didn't want to put on the
Oh,
camera.
no worries. Well, we'll have time for, hopefully we'll have time for Q&A. So I definitely want to
Yeah,
circle back to you after this.
thank you.
Um, so it's understanding this. It's understanding, okay, I understand the magical spark. I understand what it is that I'm selling. I understand who I'm selling it to. I'm now doing the research to understand. I'm talking to my people and figure out what's the gap in the market, what's preparing them from getting from where they are to where they want to be. And then I'm doing whatever I can to really fill that gap, to really serve my market better than anyone else's. And I'm going to be the thought leader of that. I'm going to show them how I could help them with that. So as I was talking about before, if you sell self-love, be the thought leader of self-love. If you sell manifestation experiences, be the thought leader of manifestation. It's your job to use your content to serve your people and build that deep emotional connection with them over and over and over and over and over again. That's what good content does. So that's part two. Part two, there was a lot to part two, but it was really important. So part three, when you've mastered that, this is when you have to take a look at your offers, how you're setting up your offers to bring in 5-figure months. And the big thing here is to create incredible offers. Oh, sorry, let's just want to backtrack. And to create incredible offers, you need to understand what your true soulmate clients and collectors want more than anything else. So this is understanding how you could design your offers for them. So this is where you have to decide, what are the different offers you're going to offer in your luxury brand and business? Is it just paintings? Is it just prints? Or is it something more exclusive and designed to serve your people in a way that truly touches their lives? So this is understanding your market, understanding, okay, this is my luxury business. This is how I'm going to serve my people. This is how I'm going to get them from where they are to where they want to be better than anyone else. And getting them from where they are to where they want to be, it's not necessarily, people think, like, people could see that with a coaching journey. There's so much more of that. Like, think about, why do people buy from Gucci? Like, this is, Jeffrey Perlman talks about this, and I love this. It's like they buy from Gucci because they want to be Kim Kardashian. That's getting from where they are now to where they want to be. And even though it may seem superficial, it works. It's working for a brand like Gucci. So it's understanding for you, okay, what are the different offers that I could have that could get my people from where they are to where they want to be, that could allow them to step into the identity of who they want to become. That's a really big thing. So you want to basically sell something that's going to serve your people in a way that truly touches their lives. So this is the big thing. You have to get out of your own logical mind of what you think your people want, because this is what a lot of artists do, which is why they have hobby art businesses. And instead, actually talk to your people. Find out what's the missing link in getting them from where they are now to where they want to be. When you can create offers that effectively do that for your specific people, when you can make your offers that are designed to serve them in that specific way, beyond just assuming this is what I think the market wants. You know that this is what your market wants. You have evidence that this is what your market wants. Guess what? They're way more likely to sell because you've done the groundwork. You've done the work, you've gotten feedback. Because it's truly getting your true dream ideal clients and collectors where they want to go on their hero's journey. It's allowing them to become who they want to become. It's giving them the space to become that. Whether you think it's, I mean, for most of you don't have superficial brands or you don't have superficial things, but whatever that looks like for your people, you're supporting them and stepping into the identity of who they want to become. So you need to know your people. Who do they want to become? So what's the thing where when they see that, they're like, I want that. I want that life. I want that lifestyle. I think it's something that's so brilliant when I see Ralph Lauren, and they had a movie, and I don't know if it's still on HBO Max, but I remember I watched the documentary years ago, and I remember one thing that he's so good at is he embodies everything he sells. He's literally living the Ralph Lauren lifestyle in his home. He's literally living he has several homes. He's living the Ralph Lauren lifestyle in all his homes. So don't you think it's pretty easy for him to sell what he sells? Of course, because he's embodying it. He's living it. He's being it. He's showing people, oh, if you want to be like me, go buy this jacket, go buy this bedding, go buy this decor. Now he sells so many things in the Ralph Lauren brand. There's so many different departments. Because he's being the embodiment of that. Does that make sense? So there's like this holistic cycle. It's understanding what you're building. It's understanding who it's designed for. It's understanding the different offers that are going to help your people get from where they are now to where they want to be. And whatever those offers might look like, whether that's home decor, whether that's paintings, whether that's an experience with the paintings. Like, it's for each person, for each brand, it's going to be so different. Okay, so the fourth step. This is the big thing, establishing your marketing plan. So as I said before, it is an accident why some businesses have consistent 5, 6, 7-figure months and others don't. The reason they do is because they're set up to. They have systems set up that allow them to experience that. So the next step, once you know your offers, you know when you're releasing them, and this is a big thing, planning out, okay, this is the different offers. These are the different launches I'm going to have. When am I going to release them? Now it's time to set up a kick-ass marketing plan that allows you to work backwards from your offers. So it's knowing like, okay, this is the business I'm creating. These are the different, this is who it's designed for. This is why these people are attracted to my business in the first place. These are the things that are going to serve them. And I know this because I've spoken to my people. I've tested things out. I've like gotten feedback of what they're looking for. Okay, these are the different offers I'm going to make this year, or these are what I'm going to offer these different offers this year. How can I work backwards, knowing that with intention to help prepare my people to be ready to buy these offers? So you're not just like spamming your people out of nowhere being like, it's here, it's available. It's like, no, you've gotten people prepared, you've gotten people excited, you've gotten them ready to buy the thing it is you're offering, to buy the thing it is that you're selling. Does that make sense? And that's a really important thing. Like you will see when Apple, and I haven't studied in Apple's entire marketing plan, but they have very effectively get people very excited and leading up to buy the next new iPhone or the next new watch or the next new Apple computer. Whether they use media with that, whether they use I don't know how much they use social media, but whether they use ads for that, like they do different things. And by the time they have their like TED talk where they teach you how to spend $1,000 on an iPhone, at that point, people are so excited. They're so emotionally invested in what's coming next that they're ready to buy the next thing. And that's why Apple's a $1 trillion company. They know how to effectively get their people ready to buy the thing that they know that these people are very excited about. I mean, there's many other levels to why they're a $1 trillion company, but like that's something they do very effectively. And every really successful, effective business knows how to do this. They know how to seed and get their people ready to buy what it is that they offer. They know how to work their way up to that. They know how to prepare them to be ready for that. And how do you prepare people? Well, you know what you're doing. You know when you're going to release things and you work backwards. You start being like, okay, what are all the things that people need to see or understand? And for a lot of you guys, it's a lot of use to your artists. It's taking people on the journey. It's taking them on the journey of creating what it is you're creating, taking them on the journey of being part of the experience of what it is that they ultimately want to experience on their hero's journey. So by the time you release it, they're like, yes, I want this. How can I buy this? How can I experience this? I want more of this. This goes back to the whole idea of what it is that you're ultimately selling, because you're selling way more than just art. And you need to understand that. And when you could get people ready for that, the chance of the people, of course, you're always gonna have people in buckets of who are just discovering you. You're gonna have people who maybe are following you and then maybe they're ready yet, maybe they're not ready yet. And then you're gonna have the people that are like, yes, I'm ready now. You're always gonna have all groups of those people. That's just normal. In any marketing situation, that's normal. But how are you effectively guiding them on the journey to being ready? And for each person's ready, some people may be ready in a week, some people may be ready in a month, some people may be ready a year, some people may take years. It doesn't matter. We're dealing with billions of people in the world. So you don't have to worry about lack of any kind. It's understanding how am I effectively bringing people on this journey to make sure that they're ready. So all your content, your marketing is designed to support your people and be prepared and excited to buy your offers. This is a really big thing. This is a skill in itself. And if it's a skill you don't have, it's a skill you want to develop. This is a skill you want to get support in. Because it's not something anyone could do it, but it's understanding how to do it. It's just like anyone could create a painting, but to go from just being a beginner to being Michelangelo level, like there's some skill, there's some training involved. It's the same thing like with marketing or anything you want to get good at. Okay, so this is a concept that businesses truly master in marketing, and it's called seeding your offer. And this is what you want to start doing once you know what your offers are. Does this all make sense? Cool. So the last step, and this is the unsexy step, but it's really important. It's reviewing your data and analytics and review what's actually working so you know what to double down on. And this is a really important thing. And a lot of people, like this is where I think artists struggle with this because we love to live in the creative space. We don't love structure. We love like just being in our brains, playing with paint all day or playing with our art all day, just coming up with the creative ideas. I know, because that's me. We love to be visionaries and it's fun being a visionary, but you also have to see, okay, with all the things that I'm doing, what's actually working here. So now that you've taken all these steps, you've gotten clear of the luxury brand and business you're specifically building. You know who your specific soulmate clients and collectors are and who it's specifically designed for and how to actually get in front of them and develop that relationship with them. You understand the spark of why they love you over someone else, why they're attracted to you and your brand over someone else. You understand the journey of how you're helping them get from where they are to where they want to be, who you're ultimately helping them become. You've gotten clear on the exact offers you're making in your business. And when you're making these offers, you set up your marketing plan to work backwards to prepare your audience to buy, and you then put your marketing plan to action. Now it's time to actually look at your data. So this is where it's time to look at, okay, what's working? What do you need to double down on? What do you need to let go of? What type of feedback have you gotten? And what is that? What is all that telling you in terms of feedback? And how can you take that and then optimize? And focus on, okay, we tried this really worked. We did this as well. This didn't work as well. The thing that didn't work as well, if it's not important, like, let's let that go. Let's double down on this. Like, there are people who have huge quantum leaps just by doing that because they're not trying to fix the problem. I mean, if there's a huge problem in your business that isn't working, it's a huge bottleneck that needs to be addressed, you address it. But if you're doing something that's like, we're not getting the results we want from this, then let's stop doing this and let's double down on the thing that is working and focus all our energy, all our resources, all our time on this, because chances are we could easily double, we could triple, we could 10 times our business if we double down on this one thing. But it's understanding that. And at this point, when you've gotten all these things down, this is when you're actually treating this like a real business. You can see the difference. You're no longer treating this like a hobby art business, like, oh, I'll do this art fair here and I'll do this thing here and I'll post here and I'm going to hope something works. No, we're treating this like a real business with intention. So this is where you want to see, as my mentor says, where the bottlenecks are in your business. So you know where you need to place the most focused attention in your business to actually achieve your next financial goal. Does this make sense? So these are ultimately the 5 key steps to achieving consistent 5-figure months in your business. This is more like a more overall high level view. Are there more nuances? Yeah, of course. Each business has way more nuances, but they're really extreme. You could see there's nothing extremely complicated about this. They're all extremely simple, as most things are, but they evolve a level intention and a focus to achieve true mastery and actually have a real business that actually makes good money for you. So for those of you want to discover the key specific shifts you need to make to experience 5-figure months in your business, I've spoken about this before. I'm offering this one more week. For the next week, I've decided to open up my calendar to do a few art business audits so we could kind of see what are the gaps in your business? What are the things that are preventing you from experiencing 5-figure months? What are the shifts you need to make to get there? And they're filling it pretty quickly, so these spots. So if that's something you may be interested in, just type audit below or send me a message and we will set yours up. But in the meantime, we have about 15 minutes. So I would love to, for the people who are here, Christy, let me talk to you because you may be okay. Because you have plenty of other things where we could support you with that. So, but I would love to use this time to support those of you who are live with us and really figuring out, okay, how can we support you in applying this in your business? What are the gaps in your business? So I know Susan, you unmuted yourself earlier. I would love to hear what your questions are or your thoughts are.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, mine is probably the most basic one. I think step number 2 is, who are my people and where are they? I've been making art for an awful long time and trying to sell it for 10 years or so, and not really, just occasional sales is what I achieve.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of, I haven't got any data to look back on, only in my head, what did I do then and what should I do, that kind of thing. So I do try and make plans and I analyze things and bring myself forward, but it's just that, the basic, I mean, partly it's the branding as well, because as you can hear, I'm just a kind of natural person. I'm sitting here with a big jumper on. I'm not, heavily, groomed and rich or anything like that. So, but ideally, obviously, we all want to sell to the rich people in a way. But I haven't kind of got I haven't worked out a message that I can carry more than I make art that will brighten your day. That's what I've got on my website, kind of that art to brighten your every day. Yeah. So, that's as close as I've come this past year or so to establish that. Yeah. And I'll just tell you, I mean, I know you want to help me, but I just, in terms of currently, I'm just working on trying to get myself, because for me, the process of making art is a very important thing. It's the key to it, you know. So I mean, I am the sort of person who uses different mediums.
Yeah.
Because you get a different result from each medium, kind of thing. So, but I'm kind of honing it down to 1 or 2 now, not 5, kind of thing. And but really, the process is my interest.
Yeah.
You know, what makes me feel fulfilled. So, I'm working on kind of making more videos of the process and making art and building on that.
Yeah.
But to be honest, face to face, I've been through an awful lot of like domestic stress, and I'm still going through it. And so I can't make myself the happy person on screen. You know, I'm shy anyway, but you know, if I'm recording myself, it's even worse. So that's kind of my difficult areas at the moment. And generally, I just have never found or established who I might be able to sell to regularly.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically what you shared with me, and I want to thank you for being so open and so vulnerable. Like, thank you, because I know a lot of people are willing to do that. So that's really beautiful that you're like opening up. But the biggest thing that I see is like, okay, you're missing key core foundations. Because it sounds like the key foundations, because it's like, okay, we can talk about identity, we can talk about you dressing how you want to dress. Like, that's all great. That comes later. And we don't talk about that now. But it's like, okay, who are we selling to? Who are the people who like they see our art and there's like that spark of like, I need that. It's like beyond word. In that moment, they don't even have words to describe why they need it. Like, you eventually identify what that is. What is that spark and how to make it more broad. It's like really identifying your brand frequency. We haven't really spoken about today. We've spoken about a lot of trainings we've done before. But for you, I think that's a big thing, is identifying that. And I think because you haven't identified that, it's like you're doing these things, but it's still occasional sales.
Yeah.
There's not consistency, and it's kind of, you haven't been in a position because you're missing those key foundations. It sounds like you haven't been able to get in the driver's seat and being like, this is what I'm building. This is who it's for. Right. These are my magical people. How can I get in front of them over and over again?
Yeah. They're random people at the moment, really, to be honest.
And we want to get, and that's there, you know, there will always be people like, there's people who may not be those magical people that like, when I say magical, it's like they're people that are like, they were like, you were designed to help them. It's like they came into their world and they were like, yes, this is what I'm looking for.
Really sort of finding people who want the next thing, or want to see at least what you do next, rather than, oh, she's done that, has she? Oh, sort of thing, you know. That's
it's those people. Like, I'll be honest, there's this one art, I'm actually very excited about this. There's this one artist I just bought several prints from, and I've been a fan of his for like 18 years. Like literally 18 years. I've been following him. He used to have galleries all over the world. He unfortunately has gotten himself into major trouble, and that's a different story, and it's very sad. But aside from that, like, his work, to me, it's like, it's touched me on such a deep level. Like, it was the thing that led me to being an artist. And it's like, because it had that touch, like, actually one of his prints, it's a tiny print. That's something I've had for years, and I'm finally like redesigning my space here. But it's like, I'm probably when I have this, I will have like I will have 5 prints in this one space of his, of different sizes. Because it's like, there's that magical spark, like his work, it touches me on such a deep level. It connects me. Like, Maui is like my special place. It's one place, like, my goal, my hope this year is to move there. If everything works out, like, logistically with what's going on the island there. That's my goal there, because when I'm there, I feel like being in his paintings, it just connects me to that magical spark. When I was in Maui, I felt like I was in his paintings. It was like there was such a deep connection. So of course, I'm like the dream ideal client in that case, because it's like, for him, it's like, I've been following all this time. Because they've had the most perfect business model all this time. They've changed because they were first in the gallery business model. Things have changed and evolved, and that's a different story. But for you, it's like, okay, who are those people? They see your work, and it's like that connection where they will follow you and they will stay with you for as long as you're in business.
Yeah.
Those are the people you want to get in front of. Those are the people you want to market to. Those are the people you want to speak to. Those are the people you want to touch. And I will tell you, and I think Christy can probably back me up on this just from her experience, you will attract those people when you are the most truest, most fullest version of who you actually are. And you take all the layers of, yeah, Christy agrees big time. And you're not, and you're not kind of, because I know, like you said, you're going through domestic stuff, you're dealing with other stuff. So right now, I'm assuming right now, you're not being the truest, most fullest expression of who you actually are right now, because life isn't allowing you to be at this moment.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Yeah, and I understand, because I've dealt with things like that in my past, and it's really hard. Like, there's no sugarcoating it. It's really hard when you're dealing with stuff like that. But I think for you, it's what sounds like to me is you're missing these key foundations, and we just need to solve these key foundations first. And when you have these things in place, everything else will take off.
Yeah, I can't really sort of I can't really sort of express joy because I haven't got any at the moment, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I might, if I sold some paintings or something, I might have some joy, but
Yeah.
that would help me. But really, generally, I haven't got any to show.
Yeah.
But I have still got it in my paintings, though. That's always been the sort of strange thing for me. Is like there's always been a depressive side of me anyway, a delicate side. But the joy has always come out in paintings or in drawings, or whatever.
Yeah.
So the paintings are still there, the art is still there, showing the real me, which is the one that's hidden at the moment in a sense.
Yeah.
But it's just I can't sort of like you say about embodiment and I just can't do it physically, in terms of how I am very
Yeah.
well. Even writing Facebook posts, I've lost enthusiasm for it altogether. It's very difficult to
Well,
force
maybe
happiness as well.
you say you sell joy, but I'm assuming there's something deeper than joy that you sell. Because I think a lot of people could say they sell joy. A candy store could say they sell joy. So I think there's something deeper there. And when you understand what that deeper thing is, it's okay to be human as well. Because to say that everyone's, even the most ecstatic manifestation leaders or healers or whatever, they are humans too. They have human moments too. And they're not afraid to talk about their human moments. With your situation, of course, you safety first. And when I say that, like if talking about this publicly is going to affect your safety, of course, like be smart. Like don't talk about something if it's going to affect your safety. But I think there's also a certain level where you can be human.
Yeah.
And you can show that, like, because we all know no one's perfectly happy 100% of the time. No one's ecstatic. It's not physically possible our bodies can't physically possibly do that 100% of the time. There are moments we can be. There's moments like there's people who are genuinely happy. Like monks are genuinely happy most of the time, but are they ecstatic jumping for joy 24/7? No. Our human bodies physically can't do that. So I think trying to be that all the time isn't real. And I think people who try to be that all the time, people feel there's some level of authenticity missing. So they're like, that's not real. That's not possible. You can be happy, you can be joyful, but it's like, also be human and don't be afraid to be human and being like, you know what? I've been working through this and this has been part of my journey. And when you understand what you represent and you say joy, I know it's deeper than joy, what you're telling me. I know you sell something way deeper than that. And even if you saw Chrissy just said a beautiful comment about you in the chat, so definitely look at that. Yeah. But you definitely sell something deeper than that. Because when you understand the deeper thing you sell, there's more context to what you can talk about in relationship with that. Like I know one artist I used to follow, she no longer does this anymore, but she used to live in Honolulu, I believe, or around that area. She no longer lives there, but for a while she would sell like just the feeling of Hawaii, and it was a big thing. And she did these resin paintings and they took off and all that. But she also shared with her what she would share with her audience how she struggled with anxiety and depression, all those things, and people really connected with her because a lot of people also did as well.
Yeah.
So even though at that time she's back in like the continental United States, so what she does now is a little differently. So even though for the longest time that's what she was selling ultimately was the feeling of Maui, she was also able to share with her audience like, listen, this is something I'm also struggling with as well. And people got that, and that made her human.
Yeah. I think it is that difficulty, of sharing what you really are, in a sense. I've never particularly done it because it doesn't help me to say necessarily permanently that I'm depressed, but I make this lovely art. That's not necessarily a good thing all the time. So, and then particularly at the moment, it would be wrong to say publicly that there are difficulties in the sense. So it's difficult times at the moment, and I'm doing my best in a sense to keep with the art,
Yeah.
because in a way that's all I've got.
Yeah.
To have some
Yeah.
hope in, but you know, it's just a matter of maybe time and getting things better so that I
Yeah.
can put myself into where I need, you know, the places I need to be
Of
and
course. Like,
represent myself in a way that works. You know, I don't
yeah.
know. I
I mean,
mean,
like
I
you're
did use, you know, when things were okay,
Mhm.
some, you know, when I first started out selling art and things, I was quite, you know, I was genuinely,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
joyous at showing what I'd made, you know, but I wasn't, but you know, so that part of me can still come back, but
Yeah.
it's just the difficulty of selling art as well as living it, the life I'm living is, you know, it's all just like
I
a
know.
bit
Well,
pushing. So
like,
it's just
yeah.
hard to keep going.
And I understand that. And I think for you, of course, safety first. Like, I don't want you to share
Mm.
something that's going to affect your personal safety. So,
Yeah.
of course, that's the first and most important thing. If you feel safe, if you physically feel safe, this is where you can actually talk about, what it means to be human and how it's like, yeah, I focus on selling joy. It's my mission to whatever your core mission is with your brand. It's my mission to
Mm.
do this. But as a human, I go through seasons like this. And I think even I know people who sell all the emotions of joy and all this, they talk about they have seasons of where they're really low as well. And it's feeling we're always dealing with the law of rhythm. So law of rhythm is this whole idea of like, this is why I say it's physically impossible as long as we're in this human bodies, it's physically impossible for us to be ecstatic all the time.
Mm.
Like we could be happy. We could just be in a general state of being happy. Like that's why people go strive for like self-actualization. And that's why monks become monks, to be in that state of just bliss and happiness. But they're not ecstatic all the time. They still have their own law of rhythm of their highs
Mm.
and lows, just maybe their lows aren't as low as other people's lows. So we're
Yeah.
always having this thing of, and that's what people relate to, because people know it's like you're not going to be jumping, it's not physically possible to do that. So it's just understanding it's like, okay, well, how can we, if we sell joy, and I know you sell something way more than joy, but I'm just going to use it as an example. Well, what are the different sides to joy? What are the sides that like where we have the contrast that leads to joy? Because when things, I could think people could say some of the greatest joys happen coming out of contrast.
Mm.
I was actually watching this one movie. It's kind of become my new movie that I've been obsessed with, because it's like one of those ones you could just watch over and over again. And I love it because I've experienced this feeling before where you're in a very difficult situation and then you go away and you're brought into this other situation. And it's just like the most purest, most divine joy, because it's the contrast of where you were a minute ago to where you are now is so different. So you could appreciate this so much more. It's like it feels like you almost see it even with more rose-colored glasses in a good sense, in a more beautiful way. Because it was like I could even use an example. Back in 2018, like I was just so set on going to LA and just being out in LA. And in New York, we were having these crazy like northeaster snowstorms where we were losing power. It's like 30 degrees in the home. It's like so going from that to then being in LA a week later, like my joy was like through the roof. Like nothing could phase me. Because I was like, I got out of that. I was able to escape this. I actually just escaped another snowstorm like the day before. And it was like my joy was like nothing could bring me down. It was like my joy was through the roof because I came out of that contrast.
Yeah.
So you see what I mean? Like there's different levels to joy. And I think
Yeah.
if like I said, I believe you sell something deeper. So I think there's more to your message than just that. But if let's say that was just your message, that was it. I'm just going to use that for thing. Well, there's more nuances to that. And I think
Yeah.
you can kind of talk to what those nuances are. And that by talking about that, that makes you human. That actually makes you relatable. And that's where people actually start listening because they're like, oh, I get that. I agree with that. People who just post positive things all the time and just post wins and that's all they do, that's great, but they're not relatable because we all know
Yeah.
it's not like we know everyone has highs and lows. That's just part of being human. Everyone experiences contrast. That's part of being human. So when people are only sharing the highs, this is where like a lot of younger kids struggle with social media is because they think everyone's life is perfect and they're like, well, why does my life not look like that? It's because like they're not sharing everything. They're only sharing this thing. It's not what they're sharing isn't all real.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, it's a good way of trying to think about how to talk, at least in a Facebook sort of type
Yeah.
of setting. You know, it just gives me some
Yeah.
Sort of direction to come from, really, I think, rather than,
Yeah.
I'm miserable, but I've got to say something good on it. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not, it's
Yeah.
not quite the same thing. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Uh,
And thanks, Christy, for the lovely
yeah.
comments.
Of
Thank you.
course.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I do recommend that you book an audit as well, because I think we want to see what are those gaps in the business that we could really address. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think for you, it's like the biggest thing that will dramatic, just based on everything you share with me, of course, handling the situation however it needs to be handled, what's going on at home. It's that, and with your business end, it's getting your foundations in place.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
I could tell you, until those foundations are in place, your business isn't going to be where you want to be.
Yeah, I know. I know that's the trouble. I know, but I don't know
Yeah, that's why
how to do it.
yeah, that's why I'd say let's book an audit so we could see, like, okay, what are the different ways we could get your business where you need it to be.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course, but yeah, we are actually past time. I
Sorry,
know.
yeah, that's my fault.
No, Susan, no, this is great. Like, I'm happy we were able to spend this time to support you, that you were meant to be on this call so we could support you today.
Yeah, thank you.
You're totally fine. I know, I hope I'm saying your name right, Hamali. If you haven't yet, I'd say book an audit with me, because I would love to learn more about your business and see what are the specific shifts you need to make. Anyone who's watching live on Facebook or live on the replay, also, I recommend you do that, because as you can see, I can't really support you until I can actually really get to see what's going on and what specific things you need to address. So I recommend booking that. Otherwise, I hope you all have an amazing and incredible and a beautiful day. And I will see you at our next training. Thank you so much for watching this training. If you enjoyed this training, please like and subscribe below. And if you're an artist and creator and you want to turn this calling, this endeavor of yours into a multiple 6 to 7 figure business, make sure you download our free Artist and Creative Entrepreneur 7-figure blueprint. Access here in the description below. Now come join me in our next training right over here.